Welcome to How I Invented a Game and How You Can Too. My name is Marcus Gardner, and I'm the Imagination Engineer. In this video, I'm going to take you through the steps that you need to take in order to invent something, like a game, or anything else for that matter. And I'm going to use the exact same steps that I used to invent my game, so you can see how everything is done. Okay? All right. Before we begin, step one, you need to understand why it's so difficult. Even though there are thousands of new inventions every year, it is still a very difficult process. Why? Because there's no way to study for it. It's not like a test you can study for. Okay? When you go to college, you can study for all your exams. You know what's going to be on the test. You have all of the knowledge that you need to succeed. It's up to you to do the studying and to do well on the test. But for creating an invention, that's totally different process. You are creating something unique. This is similar to doing a doctorate or PhD, where for the PhD or doctorate, you need to create something new, a paper that no one else has written. So it's similar to that, and that's why it's so difficult. You really need a very good imagination to be able to invent something. It requires a lot of creativity, thinking outside the box. And many people have trouble thinking outside the box. And that's why most people do not make a invention. Okay? So you need to understand that this is going to be difficult. One, you may never succeed. Two, it may take you a long time. Three, it may take you a long time. You succeed, and then you find out it's already been invented. I did that once. But you should not worry about that. That's a success. Why? Because you did something most people didn't. You came up with an idea on your own, something you created. It just so happens somebody else had already created it, but still, that's a success. That's a win. You're on the right track. Of course, the ultimate goal is to create an invention that no one else has created. And that is a very long and hard process. All right, so do not get down if you fail. In fact, I guarantee you're going to fail. Now, I don't mean always. You're going to fail at least once, maybe twice, maybe 100 times. Okay? I failed many times. Okay. I have invented 7 games so far. And this game I'm going to talk about is number 7. Okay? It's the easiest game I made. But still, it took a lot of creativity to come up with it. Okay, so now we understand the difficulty. Let's move on to step 2. You need to decide on an area or topic within your expertise. You can't just say, well, I want to make a better aircraft engine, if you know nothing about engines. It doesn't make sense. And you can't say, well, I'm going to create a flying car, if you know nothing about aerodynamics or about cars, etc. It has to be something within your expertise, okay? Or something that you know about, okay? It could be something as simple as something that'll make your life as a couch potato better, all the way to being an engineer about making something to make things easier for you. The whole world is your playground, okay? It could be anything. There are lots of tools being made in the kitchen. For one, I know, I would love for there to be some invention to take all the seeds and pulp out of a lemon to make great lemonade without having to deal with digging out the seeds and getting all the pulp out So that's something I would love to see. But anyway, there are lots of inventions in the kitchen everywhere. So everybody has some area of expertise, even if it's just being a couch potato. So you need to decide, what is your topic? What is your area of expertise? Mine is education, teaching, okay, programming, math, but education in general. So once you decide on that topic, then we can start. Step 3, using your expertise in that area. Is there anything that you can improve or create new? Now, this step will take a long time, possibly. You have to think about everything. Boy, I wish I could do this, or I wish that this would help. So is there anything that you can think of that can improve something? Now, that's the nice thing about inventions. When you invent something and you get it patented, okay, then all the specs are out there for other people to look at, because the government expects, they encourage people to improve on existing ideas. So it doesn't have to be totally new. It could be something that already exists, but perhaps you'll make it better. Okay? For example, the mouse for your computer. It started out very simple with a trackball. Okay? And later it was improved, to have a sliding roller on top. Later it was improved to use a laser beam. Okay? So again, it started out as a simple mouse and got more complicated and better over the years. So is there anything that already exists that you can make better or create something new? That's even harder. Okay, so you start thinking, Now, after a while, you may decide, well, I can't think of anything. Do I have to give up? No. That's where step 4 comes in. Look at how other people in your area of specialty are doing things. For example, couch potato. Go watch a friend of yours live his life as a couch potato. Oh, he's doing it differently. Oh, I can make his life better. It won't help me, but it might make his life better. So by looking at how some other people do things, you may get an insight into something else. That's one of the main reasons why when you go to college, they don't let you just study the area you like. For example, math and computers. When I was in college, that's all I wanted to study, math and computers. They made me learn this other stuff, history, English, yuck. But it was all good. Rounding out your education, giving you ideas about life in general. This is what you need, especially if you want to invent something. You need to know what's out there. Other products, other ideas, what can be done, okay? By you having knowledge of the outside world, it's going to help you when you try to invent something. So, we look at how other people in their specialty does something. So, take for example my game I invented. I thought for a long time, I just couldn't think of anything else that I could invent. Remember, I've already invented 6 games. I was trying to invent the 7th one, and I just couldn't think of anything. So, I went and looked at one of my other teachers. How did they teach? So, let's take a look here. This is Joe. He is an excellent teacher for little kids. I prefer the older ones. But anyway, let's take a look and see what Joe does. As you can see, he is very energetic, and the kids loved it. Okay, they actually love him as a teacher. And so I got to thinking, how could I create something that the students would love using his way of teaching? Running around, jumping, making a lot of noise. And I started coming up with an idea. Okay. Now, the next step is look at existing products and see if you can use them or improve on them. And with that idea that I had, mixing it with an existing product that I knew about, I was able to come up with an invention. And this part right here, existing products, this is so important when it comes to making an invention. Okay? It's like the old saying, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. Okay? So knowing what's out there will help you be able to create your own invention or make one that improves on another. All right. So, what invention did I use? I used a very simple one.
Okay, I'm good. Go. You know you're going so fast. Right hand to blue. Is that me? Yeah. It's already there. Okay, right hand yellow.
So, as you can tell, this is the game Twister. So, I put my idea together with Twister here and came up with a nice invention. The next step is to actually design the game. Now, one very important rule of business that you need to worry about when designing a game is to try and make sure your product can be used by as many people as possible. Okay? Every business, whenever they come out with a product, they want as many people as possible to be able to use it. If they can't, maybe they'll make changes to it. For example, a company wants to make men's underwear. Well, hopefully they'll think about making boys' underwear, maybe even girls' underwear, women's underwear. You know, making small changes or design changes so that a way the whole population can use it and not just men. So, try to remember that when you're designing the game. You want as many people to be able to use your game or idea. It doesn't have to be just a game. Your game or your idea. So that you could sell as many as possible. Okay? The whole idea is about selling it, right? Well, not the whole idea. Okay? But anyway, it is nice to be able to earn a little bit of money from your fruits of labor. So you want as many people as possible to use your game or idea. So keep that in mind when you design your game. See if there are options available that might make more people want to play it. Okay? All right. So what I did is I took the Twister idea, I put the circles together, and I put letters in it because I'm in education. And I thought about spelling out the words of an elephant or whatever in the game Twister. You know, like I said, this was, not a hard game to make. But again, it does take, quite a bit of effort to come up with the idea, how to put things together and stuff. And notice I put some colors in it. So if you wanted to play the original Twister game where you just have the colors, you could do that too. Again, making more options. Okay? But also, I created a larger version. See, you see a whole bunch of small little circles. And you'll see why I did that in a little bit. Of course, we can't use this for Twister. It's just too small. But having both games there as one really helps to be able to get as many students as possible to use it. All right. Next step, try it out. All right, I need you to understand the warnings here. Most people are, going to be good. However, you might have a few friends who might take advantage of you. So please be careful when you're going to try it out on who you try it out with. Let me explain. Let's say you make this wonderful invention, and then you invite all your friends to a party to show them. Okay? You've got your best friend Bob there, and you got, a few of his friends, a few more of your friends, and they're all there to see your wonderful creation. Okay? And then you show them the wonderful game or whatever it is. Tom there is, not doing so well and would really love some extra money. He sees your idea and dollar signs start floating in his eyes. And he watches very carefully. And he learns everything you say. And then guess what? He runs home that night, writes up paper, writes up the invention, sends it off to the patent clerk in Washington, D.C., and applies for a patent for his game or idea. Guess what? You just got screwed. Okay? So, it's very important that if you want to patent your idea. Now, a patent means that no one can use your game without paying you or idea. Okay? A restriction is that the game or idea cannot have been produced, mass produced. For example, let's say you create a game and then you ask some manufacturer to create 2,000 games so you can start selling it. Well, guess what? You cannot get a patent now. Okay? The patent is for the idea. Okay? Before you start producing it, you get the patent and then you produce it. Now, I'm going to be honest here and say that I did not get a patent for this game. I could have. There are a few reasons why. One, the cost for getting a patent is very expensive. Okay? We're talking more than $10,000. All right? And two, it was such an easy game, we decided we wanted to just go ahead and start using it for our company. And so we did. So I want you to understand the risk involved if you create an invention, because to be honest, it would suck if you spent all that time creating this invention and then somebody with dollar signs floating in front of their eyes took your invention right underneath you. Okay? All right. So let's go back to our step 7 here. Try it out. Now, of course, I didn't have too much to worry about with kids. But anyway, I had tried it out. So I let Joe here try out the big one and see how he could use it with his kids. He immediately came up with a good idea for his kids. Let's take a look to see what they did.
Corey, this is what? H. And this? Come here. E. A. Very good. Okay. H. Jump to H. Jump. Very good. Okay. E. Very good. A. Very good. And R.
She's having a hard time finding the R.
Wonderful. Give me 5. Yeah. Okay. Lynn.
So as you can see, he used it to help with spelling. And again, the kids love jumping around. So that's exactly why I used the small letters. because I knew that the kids love jumping around and stuff, and he loves this game. He uses it almost every time he has class, either this one or the big Twister one. So he likes using both inside of his classes to help with teaching. And the kids love it, and he has a fun time using it. Okay? Now, let's see how my students play the Twister game.
Start again. Okay. Right hand, right foot T. Right foot T. Left foot I. We're doing tigers. Right hand G. Right hand G. Left hand E. Right foot R. Right foot R. Left foot S. Left foot S. Good. All right, you passed that one. Let's do another one. Okay, up. All right, this time we're going to do elephant. Elephant. Right foot
She got a little
E.
excited.
Right foot E. Left foot L. Left foot L. Right hand E. Right hand E. Left hand P. Left hand P. Left hand P. Right foot H. Right foot H. Right foot H.
Herman's trying to help.
Left foot A. Left foot A. Left foot A. Left foot A. No, left foot. Left foot A. Right hand in. Right hand in. In. Right hand in. Right hand. Right hand in. Right hand. Right hand in. All right, you lost. Okay. Who's next?
So, as you can tell, the students like competing against each other. And every day in my class, they want to play the game. Of course, we don't do it every day, but it's something they can do on their break, before class, after class, etc. And the two girls just love to compete against each other, and so they like playing here, and also Herman as well. But anyway, the game has been a great success in our classes. All the kids love it. You can see the desire that they want to play the game and how we can use it to help enforce their learning of English. You know, using different words like elephant, tigers, etc., using animals or whatever words we want to come up with. Now, I designed the letters in such a way that practically any words you want to use would be fair. If you look at the letters, you'll see that they split down the middle, except for the middle zone. What I did is I took a look at the English letters in a dictionary, and I tried to incorporate how many Z's there would be, how many A's, etc., using a ratio. Now, some of them required an odd number, so I put one of those in the middle. For example, the letter C. Based upon how many C's there are in the dictionary, I determined that there should be 3 C's in this game. So there's 1 in the middle. And then, of course, there's 2 in the sides. You can see 1 right here, and this one is 1 over here. You can't see it over here, but it's over here. C. See here, this E. There's an E. There's a K. There's a K. There's a Q. There's a Q. It's symmetric to the center here, and so to make it as fair as possible. As for the smaller circle board, there's many games we can do with that. One of the ones that I like doing is having 2 students on either side, and then giving them a word like elephant and ask them to hop across the board as quickly as possible, going over the letters elephant. And they have a fun time with that. So, now, one of the important reasons to try it out is to see if you made any mistakes. Is there something too hard with the game? Or does something just not work correctly? Or does something actually hurt somebody? You know, maybe there's got a sharp edge or something you didn't think about that might not be so good. You want to try your things out now rather than have a recall. So it is important that you try it out, but you have to be careful about who you try it out with. It has to be people that you trust implicitly, or in this case, little kids where you don't have to worry about it. Or in my case, where I didn't care because I was not going to patent it. Okay? All right. Now, some more information about this invention. Again, I did not patent it, so I cannot stop you from stealing it. All right? I'm an educator. If you liked this product, honestly, there's no way I can stop you from creating it for your school, training center, whatever. Okay? Go ahead. Okay? It doesn't bother me. It's a very simple product. The kids love it. And actually, it's great. I love it. Okay? The kids love it. So, if you want to use it, that's fine. Again, this was my 7th invention. I love inventing things. It gives me a great feeling inside knowing that I created something that no one else did. Okay? And remember, you're going to have that same feeling whenever you create something. Now again, if you create something and later you found out someone else has already created it, don't feel so bad. You still created it. It's something wonderful. It reminds me of one of the episodes for Gilligan's Island where they get rescued and the professor invents a frisbee. If you watch Gilligan's Island, you know what I'm talking about. Well, the problem is someone else has already invented the frisbee. Okay? But he still invented something. Well, according to the show. So, inventing something is a wonderful thing. Okay? It does not guarantee money. You may invent it and people say, what do I want that for? Okay? Or, as I said, if you're going to patent it, it's going to take a lot of money. And in the long run, you may not sell enough to recoup the losses of the patent. I'm just being honest with you so that you understand about all the trouble it is to creating an invention. Okay? So, as I said, this is my 7th invention, and I hope to create a lot more. Now, how can you help? Well, if you love that game and you're going to create it, if you want to send me a few dollars to help pay for our stuff, please use PayPal, tngenuniversal@gmail.com. Or if you would like to help me for my other ideas that I want to patent but can't afford to get a patent on, and you want to help me out, feel free to use PayPal. For right now, the other 6 games I have invented are waiting. One of them is going through the patent process now. It's taking a long time because right now I am getting what's called a Chinese patent. It's cheaper than an American patent, but first I get the Chinese patent and then worry about the American patent later. It's a wonderful game, very complicated, which means it's going to be very expensive to patent. And again, we just can't afford an American patent right now. So that's one of the reasons why I decided not to patent this game that I showed in this video here. Okay? So you're going to have to come across this idea sooner or later. Do you want to take the money to patent it, or do you just want to rush out and start producing it, or whatever? Okay? So again, if you want to help, appreciate it. But the idea here is for you to understand how you can create a game as well. All right? And feel free to contact me. Maybe I can help you. If you have a job that you think I'd be perfect with, especially with my imagination and analytical abilities, please feel free to contact me. Let's chat. Okay? Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Again, my name is Marcus Gardner, and I'm the Imagination Engineer. Bye-bye.